And can everyone see the slides that I'm sharing? Okay, take that as a yes. So this is our general career transitions workshop. This is just to basically just guide you if you are changing careers or looking to grow in your career. So we're going to be covering just general tips and tricks, general things that I feel you should know. I'm going to be covering that. I'm your host today, and I'm just going to be covering general tips. There are some of these things you might know, some of these things you might not know, and some of these things that maybe you know them, but you just need to see them in a different light, in a different perspective. So I'm your host for today. My name is Joshua Bateru, and this is to officially welcome you to the careers transition session from Skill and Grow. So, so basically, like I said before, this session is just if you want to change career within your field. Let's say you are in the if you work in healthcare and you want to move from a healthcare assistant or a support worker to working as a nurse, or you're in, and let's say you're in another field, maybe you work in tech and you work in customer support and you want to move to from customer support to, let's say, software development or cybersecurity or DevOps engineering or just any field per se, and you just want to change within that field or just move up. And then it's also for people who want to explore new sectors. Let's say you're changing like a different from from the sector you're into, like a whole new different sector, just like moving beyond healthcare. That means maybe moving from healthcare to education, or moving from healthcare to tech, or moving from healthcare to maybe construction, or just moving from healthcare to just like a different sector entirely. And then if you're curious about tech, this is just for the name not say a few people, but this is just for a good number of people who are curious about tech. As we all know, the way the world is moving towards technology. And while it is okay for everybody not to be it's okay for not everybody to be interested in tech, but at least I know that a good number of people are becoming more interested in tech. And even if it's not tech itself, even if you don't want to be too technical, we know that in most of us in our workplaces, um there's like integrations or implementations of tech, even if it's like technical systems. Like in hospitals, we have when we use computers and systems to log patient information, to book appointment and everything and all those things. So even if you're not interested in tech per se, there are also bits of technology that are being used in our different industries and workplaces. So yeah. So today's agenda, we'll just cover a few things. There are a whole lot of things to know. There are a whole lot of things to know, but I'll cover some of the things that I feel are kind of most important. And then apart from being important, these are the things that I personally used. So a little backstory. I came into UK as a student. I came in for my master's, and then after my master's, I switched into my current job that I'm working at now. I'm a front end engineer. I'm a software engineer. I'm working as a front end engineer now. So when I came in for my masters, I was working in hospitality, and I actually had some experience from Nigeria. So I'd already worked for 3 years in Nigeria in software engineering. Then I came here, did hospitality, and then from my masters or right before I came, I was looking to get opportunities and I was looking to get opportunities in tech. And then when I first came, I knew we were restricted to 20 hours. So there was a limitation on the amount of jobs you could do. And I personally was thinking, okay, I want to work in tech, even if it's 20 hours. But then as I searched, I checked on Indeed, I checked on different job websites. I hardly found a job in tech that I could work for 20 hours. So even the ones that I found that were part-time, they were like 24 hours. So it was a bit hard for me to find a job in my field. So I had to, okay, what are the other things available? Then I went for hospitality. I did SIA, not SIA, but steward. I did different types of jobs. And this is not to say that, oh, if you come in as a student and you're working supposed to work 20 hours, you are limited to certain types of jobs. But I, in my own case, wasn't lucky at that time. So I settled for what I could get, and I learned it and I tried to do it well. And by that time, I had no hospitality experience. Not I've not done anything about hospitality. Maybe apart from what in events, let's say house events where your family organizes events and you do certain things. Maybe you help to arrange the plates, you help to serve visitors drinks, but I didn't have any professional experience in hospitality. That is knowing the etiquette, knowing a lot of things that are related to hospitality, especially in the UK. So I was able to just try update my CV, try and make the skills that were in my CV, although they were very technical and I needed to put experience, try to make them into some of the transferable skills, and then making them to the transferable skills. I was able to get my first shifts as a waiter, and then once I got my first shift, that was what I needed to actually like take me off, and then like that I used to take off. And then once I got my first shift, I updated my CV. I highlighted every single thing I did in that shift, and my consequent the hospitality jobs I got later on, where it was from that experience I used to get the jobs. And I went on working with agencies. I worked with Manchester United. I worked with Man City in their hospitality team. So from there, I built up my experiences. I kept adding my experiences as I kept working, and I kept doing trainings because most of these agencies will want you to do trainings, and I kept doing that. And then it kept adding to my experiences, and that was how I was able to get certain roles, certain hospitality roles quite easily. That is coming from a technical background and working in hospitality. I was able to get the roles quite easily from not having any experience to gaining more experience and getting much better hospitality roles and working in some of the biggest stadiums. And then I had my own plan in mind because I knew that although I liked hospitality, I liked meeting people, I also wanted to go back to tech. So while working in hospitality, while doing my master's, I had another CV that was a technical CV. I was going through jobs on LinkedIn, I was going through jobs on Indeed, just so that I could check, okay, this is the role I'm looking for. These are the skills required. What are the skills that I have already? And what are the things that I need to learn to transition back into my field in the UK? So it was one thing working in my field in Nigeria. I had to learn the landscape in UK, learn what are those specific tools that are being used in UK, what are those specific things, what are those specific things that they are looking for, because the experiences could look different from different for different countries or for different areas. Like now, if you are in the UK already, you will notice that they use Microsoft for a lot of things. A lot of businesses use Microsoft Suites. That means Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Teams, because we have Google Meets, we have other meeting, we have Zoom, but a lot of businesses decide to use Microsoft Meet, like especially schools. If you're doing your masters or if anybody that's in their masters, you see the use of Microsoft Teams a lot, just a lot of Microsoft tools to do certain things. So, and this is just an example, but I just need to learn the landscape. Okay, how does tech in UK work? What is the career progression? What are the skills I need to transfer? Although I knew I already had the skills, I already had the experience. I've built certain projects that were being used. I've done quite a number of things, but I just wanted to know that okay, this is how does it look here? What are the new things I needed to learn? And then I kept updating my CV. I kept applying to jobs. I got a number of rejections. Sometimes I sent a lot of applications on LinkedIn, send a lot of applications, and then it's like they schedule the rejections on a Sunday, and then I'm somewhere on a Sunday and I'm seeing multiple rejections. But I kept trying, I kept looking for okay, what was missing, and then I kept updating, updating my CV, updating the skills that I needed. So some of the skills that I saw that were missing, I went and learned them, tried to build new projects with that skill, and then updating my CV that okay, I know how to do this now, and that's how it kept going. I kept checking CV formats. I put my CV in different CV tools. Okay, um, what are these CV tools? That because there's something that they call ATS system, applicant tracking system. So sometimes recruiters might not always have the energy to look at thousands of CVs because sometimes if you check LinkedIn, if you're applying for jobs on LinkedIn, you will see okay, there are already 100 applicants within just a few hours, depending on the role. There are already a number of applicants just in a few days. So recruiters might not always have the time to look through all the CVs one by one. So sometimes, most times, they pass your CV through an applicant tracking system where those systems look for keyword, look for certain things. They look for a lot of things, keyword, how closely you match to the job description. So I had to keep optimizing my CV so that in the case that my CV gets passed to an applicant tracking system, my CV gets through and then is able to get to the front of the recruiter. So when the applicant tracking system has passed through different CVs, then the few CVs that are left is what the recruiter will look at. And from the ones that the recruiter looks at, then they shortlist the people that are going to be picked for the interview and then go through different stages. So these are just part of the things. Then I also did an internship doing my master's. So there were different options to pick from in my module. That's picking dissertation, picking entrepreneurship. So I went for internship because just in case a UK experience was needed for my type of job. So the good thing about UK experience sometimes is that you learn how the landscape works, you learn how things are being done. So apart from learning the skills and learning the technologies or learning those specific tools that are related to your specific role or the specific role that you're looking for, you get to work with people, you get to know how they work, you get to know some of just those workplace words, those workplace I'm looking for the things, what they call them, those the language is the things that they say at work, just specific things that they say, and you just you learn about the culture, you learn about a whole lot of things in internship. And that this is not to say that if you don't have UK experience, you probably might not be picked for the job. No, because there are a number of people that have been employed from Nigeria. Because I work with somebody currently, and then she was brought in from Nigeria, so you can work in different places and still get a job here. But just to increase my chances, I did everything I could. I kept trying different things till something worked. I joined the community. I did a lot of things, asked a lot of questions from people who knew, asked a lot of questions. And just from gathering everything, as I kept applying, kept trying, I finally got a job in my field. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about writing or updating your CV. Might not go into like a detailed CV writing, but I'm just going to just cover a few tips on how to write your CV, then effective job searching, positioning your skills, that's highlighting your relevant experience for new roles, avoiding common mistakes, sidestepping and pitfalls and things that derail application, things that make your application look bad. You might have all the skills, you might have all the experience, but if you don't present yourself well, if you don't present yourself as good enough for that role, honestly, the recruiter won't even know. So in your head, you know that okay, I can do this thing and I can do it well. But then because you do not present your case as well enough to the recruiter, they don't see that you can do it. What they see is a CV or a cover letter that's not properly written or not properly formatted. So they won't know that deep down you can actually do this thing. The only thing they can work with is what you have given them, what you have shown them. So we're also going to look at identifying skills to learn, that determining what to develop based on job descriptions, and we're just going to look at some resources and we're going to go into the question and answer. Before I continue, I just need to check. Can everyone still hear me? I might not be able to see your reactions, but if you can hear me, you can just quickly unmute your mic and just say yes, and then mute it back. Can everyone hear me? Is everyone still following me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So if you have any questions while I'm on the session, you can either leave them in the chat box then I'll come back and read them and answer them at the end of the session. Or you can just write them down. So at the end of the session, when we're doing the Q&A, you can just ask questions and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. So I also have my co-hosts here, Kel and Chinon. So they'll also be available at the end of the session. So if you have any questions, I'll answer, they'll answer, and then we'll just try to help you as best as we can. So on to the next. So making your CV work for you, make your CV work for you. Focus on transferable skills. So in the case of when you're coming from a different role entirely and you want to apply to another industry or another thing that you think is not related, that's not related to your role, one thing you can do is to focus on your transferable skills. And then I will cover some examples in the next slide, but your work might have looked very different. Like your day-to-day job might have looked very different, but it's also good to pick those things that you know that this skill is actually very important to work in this job. Like now, let's say you work in a hospital, you actually work with a lot of people. Yes, you work with either the nurses, you work with doctors, you work with a lot of people. If you work in domiciliary care, you have a team lead. You have sometimes that you go somewhere and some of you do things together, or my point is there's a bit of teamwork wherever you're working. You hardly find a case where you're working somewhere and there's no teamwork. And when you are applying for a new job, yes, your day-to-day activities might be different, might look different from the new job you're trying to apply to, but then that transferable skill of teamwork, okay, worked in a team to achieve certain tasks. So that transferable skill of teamwork, you can now transfer it, you can now use it on your CV, that instead of focusing on what exactly you did, you can just focus on the teamwork aspects in what you did and try to tailor it to whatever the job description is for the new job you're applying for, which leads me to the next point: target your desired role. So your CV should always be tailored to the job you want, not the one you have. Now, in the case that the one you have is the same job you want, let's say you are a DevOps engineer, or let's say you're a support worker, and then you are still working in the same job, but you just want to move like a band higher, just want to apply for a job that is like a promotion, then you can your CV is actually going to look similar, but at the same time you're still supposed to tailor it, because even if you're moving the band higher, unless you're looking for a promotion within the same company, the job description is going to be a little bit different. So even if it's the same job, as long as you're moving higher or you're applying to another company, the job description is going to look a little bit different. The values are going to look a little bit different. So always tailor your CV to the job you're applying for, because I can't stress this enough, because most times, like I said, you are actually good enough. You might not just be presenting your CV, you might not just be presenting your case as good as you're supposed to. So always try to tailor the CV to what you want, because they have literally told you this is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for. So you need to show them that, okay, this thing you're looking for, this person you're looking for, I'm that person that you're looking for. I'm the best candidate you could have that matches this description that you're giving me. Now, I'm not saying that you should lie on your CV. No, far from that. But if you listen to all the things I've said before, is that, okay, read description. So even when you are actively looking for a job, you know that this is the role you want to transition to. Just go on LinkedIn, go on Indeed, or go on the specific job site. Let's say you're looking to work in the NHS. Go on Track, go on the NHS site. Okay, this is the role I'm looking for. I've read the description. What are those particular things that are common that they are usually looking for? Get them. Okay, what are the skills that I have? See, okay, this is good. What are the transferable skills? What are the skills that I could transfer that I use here? Okay, they're looking for teamwork. I worked in the team in my previous role, or I'm working in a team in my current role. They're looking for good communication. Okay, I know how to communicate well, and my role requires reporting, communication, talking to other people, talking with stakeholders. I can do that well. Okay, what are these skills? What are these gaps that I have? What are these skills that they mentioned that I don't have? Where can I learn them? How can I learn these skills? How and where can I apply them? So just take how and where can I apply them? And then just go through these things. And when you learn these skills, when you learn how to apply them, when you learn where to apply them, you can now update your CV to actually match that description. So what I did is that for every job that I applied to, I tried to edit my CV to match that job. It seems a bit stressful, always having to edit your CV for different jobs. And I actually understand, because I felt that way at the beginning, that why do I always have to edit my CV for different jobs? It's getting stressful, especially when you're applying to a few jobs per day. And when you start getting rejections and you know you need to apply to more jobs to increase your chances. So I actually understand. But one thing I did is that I later settled on this particular role or roles I was looking for. And I realized that for some of those roles, there were a lot of common things in the job description that they needed. So what I did is that I had what they call the base CV. So a CV tailored to a specific role that has the most common things that they're looking for. So that whenever I'm applying to a new job and I read the description, if there's any new thing I need to add to my CV, I don't need to make so much edits. I just take my base CV for that role, make a bit of the edits, and submit it. That way, I am faster in applying, and I'm still able to tailor my CV to that particular role. So that also helped me. That also went a long way in helping me to apply for jobs. Then use action verbs, include measurable outcomes to demonstrate your impact. Oh, I led a project, or I led 2 projects, or I led the group of 5 people to be able to do this that brought this result. It's always very good to give as much results. And I know that sometimes to give as much outcomes of your work. And I know that sometimes, even for a lot of roles, it might be really hard because, okay, how do you measure your impact? How do you measure what you did? How do you measure it? So sometimes the measurements might not always be numerical, depending on the kind of jobs you work at. Try to put as much numbers as you can, but if you can't, try to make a qualitative measurement. Okay, what was the outcome of what you did? What was the outcome of what you did now at a particular time? Even if it's just one time that you did something, what was the outcome of that thing? Or what was the outcome of the things you did over a period of time? And one thing I've learned how to do, and I'm actually still trying to learn how to do, is that whenever I'm in my current job, as I'm working, whenever we hit a milestone, whenever I will do several things, I try to write them down. Okay, this is what I did. Okay, this is the progress so far. Or okay, these are the these are the outcomes. These are the positive outcomes that I've made. Just so that if I'm coming back, or when I finally come back to update my CV, I can go through that list. I can go through where I wrote all those things, and then okay, these are the things I did, and then I can pick out the measurable outcomes, pick how to say them, pick how to present them in the best of ways, and then put them on my CV. So that way I don't have to think too much. Because imagine working in a job for 3 years, 4 years. Yes, for some people you'll be able to quickly think and be like, okay, this is what I did and this was the outcome, or these are the things that I've done. But so for some people and for some roles, it might be harder. So once you have that repository, once you have that list of the things that you've done, you can actually use them to apply for more jobs. And like I said, if the job you're applying to, that you're looking to, if the role you're looking to move into is not related, then you write out the transferable skills. You write out the transferable. So let's say you're moving from I'm just trying to think of an example from the top of my head. So this example is on the slide, but I'll just mention it. Let's say you're moving from a healthcare profession and you want to move into customer service, you want to move into customer support. You can be like, okay, I communicated so and so to certain people, and this was the desired, this was the outcome. It's helped me to prevent this because I communicated early enough. I let them know. I called them together. I drew their attention to it, and because of this communication, because of this soft skill, because communication is a soft skill. So because of this thing that I did, these were the outcomes. This was what it prevented. These were the positive outcomes. Now, bringing that into a customer service or customer support CV, that one thing that they look for in customer support is for you to be able to communicate effectively. Bringing that here now, it now shows that, okay, you are able to communicate. These are the times that you took initiative to communicate certain things to certain shareholders. And then instead of saying, oh, I communicated to the doctors, you can say I communicated to the stakeholders, rather. I communicated to the stakeholders that were concerned, and it got the outcome. It prevented this. Like, say it in a way that it fits to that customer service or that particular role. And then they can say, okay, this person can communicate, and this is what we're looking for. This person took initiative, and this was the outcome of what they did. So this person seems like a right fit. So yes. So example, from healthcare to tech support. So this is how, this is just an example. So imagine, although your CV bullet points should be a bit more detailed than this, but this is just like a simple example. Handled patients records. So from healthcare to tech support, handled patients records, scheduled appointments, managed waiting room. Now, if you are carrying these skills and trying to transfer them to, you're trying to apply to tech support role, and you're trying to put them as transferable skills, it's called manage sensitive data across platforms. Patient records are actually sensitive data, and when you're handling patient records, depending on when you're working, you're either writing in a book or writing in the system, informing the people who need to know, okay, I just gave this person medication at this time. This is the next time that, let's say, the next person taking over from you, this is the next time that the person is meant to take their next medication. Oh, this just happened. I recorded it down. Oh, this is their medical history. I know that I'm supposed to keep it confidential. Although I'm entering the input, I'm entering the data, I'm supposed to keep it confidential so that only the people that are supposed to see this can see this. So patient data are actually sensitive. Patient records are actually sensitive data. And then while what you were doing was handling patient records, you were also managing sensitive data across platforms, especially if you use like a computer system or an application to log in things into the system, to log in data into the system. You are actually managing sensitive data across platforms. So this is what you are actually doing, but you just need to say it in this way so that it aligns to tech support, because in tech support, you are going to be managing and handling sensitive data across different platforms. So you have actually done it. You just need to find a way to say it that matches with the job role you're looking for. Scheduled appointments, coordinated calendars using software tools. Even if it's as simple as creating a Google Meet. Let's say you wanted to meet with your colleagues and you couldn't make it to the office. Okay, let's set up a Microsoft Teams. Let's set up a Zoom meeting. Let's set up a meeting online. Okay, raise the meeting link. I'll invite you all, and so that when you click on the link, it will appear on your calendars. I know a lot of us, or a number of us, will have gotten link invites that when you click on it, when you click on yes, it adds to your calendar. So something as simple as that, scheduling appointments. Maybe you're scheduling appointment for yourself and your teammates. You're scheduling appointment for between a patient and a nurse, or between a patient and another healthcare worker. You also actually coordinated calendars. For the times you use software tools, you put I use software tools. Even if you use your phone, that is a software tool. You use the software, you use an app on your phone to do that. If you didn't use your phone, you can just put coordinated calendars to manage meetings for this and that. So I hope you are actually getting what I'm trying to say with using your transferable skills. So you have actually done it. You just need to say it in a way that aligns with the job description and the job role. Manage waiting room, optimize client float systems. So managing a waiting room, it could be a physical waiting room or it could be an online waiting room, because they're actually what we call online queues. Let's say you're trying to apply for something. Like recently, if you're applying, maybe you're trying to apply for something on the gov.uk website, sometimes they'll tell you, oh, you're number 1 in the queue, you're number 2 in the queue. Or let's say it's just a phone call, and then you're trying to call HMRC, you're trying to call somebody and say that, okay, please wait, uh advisor will be with you shortly. They might not tell you that this is the number you are on the queue, but you're on the queue because they are trying to attend to other people, especially when you're trying to call the NHS, you're trying to call your GP. They'll tell you, okay, please, you're on the queue. Sometimes they will tell you that, okay, you are number so and so on the queue. Sometimes they'll just say that you're on the queue, and sometimes they won't even tell you that you're on the queue. They'll just say that please wait. So that's an online queue. So whether you have managed a physical queue or an online queue, you have actually optimized client flow systems, because when you're managing a waiting room, you're telling people, oh, please, can you sit down in this position? Can you sit down like this? Or okay, something as simple as taking your client out to buy food, something as simple as um going somewhere, maybe you work in tech, and then yeah, maybe you're organizing an event and you're in charge of something that has to do with a line. Like me myself, that works in hospitality, most of the time when I'm working at a bar, there are people making line, and they need to tell them, oh, please, can you stand this way, and can you file out this way? Okay, when you take your drinks, can you move out this way? Can you when you take your drink, can you move out this way? Oh, please, can you stand like this so that everybody can get their drinks on time and go and watch the game or go for the show? And that is actually a flow. That's actually a client flow. You're actually telling them that, okay, this is where you stay, this is where you follow. And these people you are selling to, these service users or these people that you're managing, they are actually your clients. So optimizing client flow systems. And then that is what you put on your CV, and then the main point is just to get you through to the interview, and then from the interview you now look for how to give details and give some examples that match closely with the job description. So giving examples might be a bit tricky, because when giving examples now, you might have to put in your day-to-day activities, but then um when you're giving examples, try to give those examples that will stand out based on the job description that you're applying to. Try to give those examples that, okay, based on the job description, which of the things that have I done in the past that actually align closely to this role I'm applying for. And then another thing to talk about is, I mentioned in the later slides, but I'll just say it now, is trying to apply for internships and trying to build things, trying to build projects. So I'll break them down into three: applying for internships, building projects, depending for those of us in tech, or depending um on any role that has to do with project building, and then trying to do things in your current role that relates closely to the role you're looking for. For my case, I got a free internship and I got it through school. For your case, maybe you didn't come through school. Maybe you're already here working in that role, or maybe you're still in Nigeria and you're looking to come in here. You can look for a company, or depending on the industry, you can look, even if whether it's a company, whether it's a friend that just started a new business, just anything. Oh, I see that you're doing this. Or you can even go on LinkedIn, search for the role you're looking for, search for people in similar roles, search for experts in that role, search for companies that do similar things, and just be like, okay, I see that you're doing this, I like your work, can I come and work for you? Like, you don't have to pay me. I know sometimes money is good, I need bills to keep afloat. So one advice I always give is that have something that you're doing that pays your bills while you're trying to transition. If you already have a full-time job, that's great, but just have something that pays your bill so that you won't be so much in a hurry. Just try as much as possible. I know it's easier said than done, but I just felt the need to say that. So back to what I was saying. So you can just send a cold email and be like, okay, or just send a message. Oh, I see that you're doing this. I like your work. I like this thing. Please, can I would you mind if I can work with you for a few months, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, or can I shadow? There are even a lot of these big companies, especially the financial companies, all these big banks that actually do something that they call like shadowing, where you come in and try to shadow some of their staff just to see. I think they call it insights and insights week, just to see what they're doing, see how the work is. So just say, okay, can I come and just come and work for you? I won't lie, a lot of people like free work. There's nobody that doesn't like free work, as long as it's not child labor or modern slavery. A lot of companies buy the idea of free work because I'm not paying this person, and this person is actually offering to do this thing for me for free. while you're offering to do it for free, that's after you've learned the skill. And while you're offering to do it for free, you are learning the skills, you're giving value, and now you can now add it to your CV. So I went for a free internship. I wanted a paid internship, but I didn't get a paid internship. But when I saw a free internship, I took it because I knew that number one, I'm going to learn more. Number two, it now also counts towards my UK experience or experience that I needed to add to my CV. Although I already had experience previously, but this was just like an addition to my CV. The second point is um building projects. For me now, I work in tech. So when I'm learning something about software, when I'm learning a new thing, I try to build projects that actually showcase that new skill that I've learned. Or maybe as I'm learning the skill, I'm building a project that aligns with that skill. So this works for almost any tech role, almost any tech role, it works for that. And then let's say you're not in tech, or let's say you're not able to get internships. What is your current job role? Especially if you're transitioning into a similar, let's say you're in healthcare, you still want to transition within the healthcare, but maybe a different role within the healthcare. So what are your day-to-day activities? What are some of the day-to-day activities of the role that you're looking to transition to? How can you best do something that is very similar in the that is very similar to the activities that are being done in this new role that you're looking to go to? How can you do something like that in your current role? So once you try to think about in that direction, it makes it easier for you in the long run, because now you have looked for something that closely aligns. You look for you look for something that's closely aligned, and you have now tried to find a way to match it to your current role. So now, as you are doing it, you are able to now write it down that this is something that I've done that's related to this role that I'm looking for. And when it's time, you can put it on your CV. And when your CV passes through and then you get an interview, you can now say that, okay, this is what I did in my current role that actually aligns. This is the example, this is how I did it, and everything like that. So, key points: use language that aligns with tech or office support role. This is for this particular example. That means always try to use language, use those keywords. Yes, keywords. Always try to use keywords that align to the roles that you're looking for, because those are mainly the keywords you're going to be using every day in the office, every day in the workplace, not necessarily office, in the workplace. So these are the keywords that are always going to be used. These are the jargons, technical jargons, office jargons. These are the things. I know when you hear jargons, because we come from Nigeria, it's a different that comes to our head, but jargons are actually just words that are specific to that industry, that's specific to that particular subject matter. So when you hear technical jargons, it doesn't mean the person is saying nonsense, but it just means that technical jargons, it might sound weird to another person, but someone that works in that particular space, someone that knows about the subject matter, is will understand it more, because these are the keywords that relate particularly to that industry or to that subject matter. um Reframe your experience using industry specific terminology. Yes, so this also ties to the first point. Always try to reframe your experience using, so apart from taking your transferable skills and writing them to match the job description, try to look for some of those tech terminologies that they are looking for, and try to reframe your experience to actually match those terminologies that they are looking for. Because it also, apart from the recruiter seeing it and being like, oh, this person knows what they're saying, even the applicant tracking system will see those keywords and pass your CV that, okay, these are the relevant keywords that we're looking for. So this CV should pass through. So let's head on to the next. So it's not just about applying everywhere. Yeah, sometimes it feels like, okay, if I apply everywhere and if I just throw my CV into different places, I will I will most likely get a response from at least one. And while that is true, and while that has some truth to it and that makes sense, I've always thought about it like this. Sometimes the quality of the applications you put through are kind of better than the quantity. Yes, it's easy to say I apply to 50 jobs per day, oh, I applied to 300 jobs per day. It sounds good to say, and it makes it look like you're doing a lot because you're actually doing a lot. But if the quality of those applications, if the applications don't have enough quality, if the quality of those applications are not good enough, you're just sending in numbers. Yes, job application is a numbers game, but what matters is that you're sending a number of quality applications. So you're not just sending in numbers, you're not just sending in different CVs, sending in cover letters, sending in generic things. You're actually sending a number of CVs, and those CVs are actually quality applications. That means instead of sending 50 applications per day, why not send 10 or 5 that are quality? If you are sending 5 quality applications per day, as opposed to 50 applications that are not even match the job description, from that 5 per week, you have made 35 applications, and that's good enough. At least from those 35 applications, even if you get one interview, that is, you might get even more interviews, but that is something because you're actually sending quality applications, which increase your chances of getting an interview. Because the first step is actually landing an interview, then learning how to properly interview for that job role, then getting the job, and then going about the day-to-day activities. So sending quality applications always beats the sending a lot of applications that you maybe do not spend enough time. Now, I always use myself as an example because now it got to a time that okay, I was sending a lot of applications and they were not quality enough, and I was getting a lot of rejections. I don't think I got one interview from those set of applications. I took a break and then I started sending quality applications, but I took a little too much time to apply to one job. I will sit down, write the cover letter from top to bottom, write this and that, check my CV, do everything. And then I was making less than a few applications per day, and I always get tired. But I found the middle ground. That is getting quality applications and still able to apply to more, not 50, not 20, but at least a good number. That is what I spoke about earlier about having different CVs, which I called base CVs, that actually aligned to the specific job role I was looking for. And then when I was applying to jobs, base series and base cover letters. So when I was applying to similar job roles, I checked the description well, and then once I'm sure of something different that I need to change in my CV, then I change it. At that point, I'm not changing my whole CV. I'm just changing a few details because my CV is already at least 80% or 70% aligned to the job that I'm applying to. I just need to change certain things to make it specific to that particular to that particular company, or that maybe that extra thing that they are looking for, especially if I have the skill. So that is what I did to find the middle ground between making quality applications and actually getting some of the numbers in. So use platform filters, narrow searches on Indeed and LinkedIn to find relevant positions, look for specific tags, seek entry level, especially if you're just starting or if you're transitioning from a very different industry, remote, if you want to work remote, or career change opportunities. Save preferred companies, follow organizations you admire to stay updated or open. So for these specific tags, when I was looking for a job, I had an option of another visa I was switching to, but I wanted sponsorship. And then whenever I apply for jobs, I always try to check once I had sponsorship. So I had there's this particular extension on Chrome. I can't really remember I think UK visa checker or something like that. You check if you add extensions to your Chrome. So whenever I'm applying on LinkedIn or Indeed from my laptop, I already see that okay, I don't know if this company is sponsoring for this job, but at least they are on the UK sponsored list. So there's a UK sponsored list on the tier 2 UK sponsors list. That's list of companies that sponsor in the UK. They are on the gov.uk website. I think there's also a website called tier2sponsor.com that you can also filter by the industry. So I was majorly applying to jobs that I saw that these people have the sponsorship license because that's what I was looking for. So whenever I see that tag from that extension, that helped me a lot. That's okay. This person sponsors. I'll apply to this job. This person, so that to save me the time of applying to jobs that they don't even sponsor, but I'm just applying. And then when we talk about sponsorship, they say we cannot sponsor. That's like a wasted application. I've spent my time, I've spent my energy to apply to something that did not have all the things I was looking for. Yes, they're looking for a candidate, and I want to present myself as the best candidate, but I also am looking for a company that can work in that can also give me either everything I want or at least a good number of things that I want. So that was also part of what I was looking for. So look for specific tags. Do you want to work remotely? Maybe your day-to-day life, um, maybe your day-to-day life will require you to work remotely. Maybe you need to be at home to handle certain things. Make sure you look for remote jobs. Career change opportunities. Let's say there are some jobs that actually put out there that okay, if you are transitioning from if you're coming from being a student or if you're transitioning from a different role, okay, this is an entry level role that is actually that actually suits you. This is good to apply to those roles or just try and look for those roles so that you don't waste time applying to roles and to companies actually that actually won't give you what you want. So you focus your energy in those things that are in those roles or those companies that will actually give you what you're looking for. So follow organizations to admire to stay updated on openings. So like now you can go on LinkedIn. Let's say you look to move into the financial space, financial industry. You can follow Deloitte, you can follow PwC, just follow all those companies that have that are doing the that in the within the industry that are looking to move to. Follow them, look for some of their employees. You can follow and connect and be like, oh, okay, I see that you work here. How has it been? How's the day to day? How's the day-to-day job like? Or how long have you worked here? You might see it on their LinkedIn if it's on LinkedIn, because there are different places to actually connect with people. So it's not just limited to LinkedIn, but you can just ask questions. You can build that connection so that it's not just when you're looking for a job. Although, yes, you might be looking for a job now, and at that point, you can actually be direct and be like, oh, I see that you're working here. I need so and so questions. But if you're in a case where you're not looking for a job now, but you're looking to change later on, you can connect with people in the same industry that you are, connect to companies, get updates, connect with people, talk with them, kind of like make connections with them so that if you ever need a referral, let's say, okay, this person is working here and the company is hiring for this role that I'm looking for, um this person can obviously give me a referral. That means I don't have to go through the ATS system. Go through I don't have to go through the long route. They can just give me a referral, and then my CV gets immediately to the recruiter recruiting for them, or to their boss, and they get to see my CV. I actually did it one time. I saw a job, and then when I checked the company on LinkedIn, I applied and I checked the company on LinkedIn, and then I saw that the someone that I follow on YouTube. I watched his videos, and then I also connected with him on LinkedIn. He connected back. I followed him on Twitter. I followed back. That was a while ago. And I saw that, oh, this person works in this company. So I messaged him. I was like, okay, hi, bro, I saw that you work in this company. Can you please refer me and all? Then he now asked if I've applied. I told him I already applied. They were like, oh, if I had not applied to the job before I reached out to him, he will have referred me and recommended me ahead of time. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, so if I had not applied to it before time and I met him, he was actually willing to recommend me because I already connected with him and built that connection, asking me a few questions in the past. So it was going to be easy for him to just, okay, I know this person with these skills. Can you like tell his manager to act, because I think he's like a lead or something in the company. So it was going to be easy for him to pass across my CV to the person that was looking to hire for that role. So then use strategic keywords, try junior, trainee, assistant or graduate scheme, because a lot of companies have a lot of graduate schemes because they know that they are targeting entry level, and those graduate schemes is they know that okay, maybe you have the knowledge, the theoretical knowledge, or maybe you don't really have the experience. So those graduate schemes is like they're going to make sure that you're going to learn on the job. But the one thing with graduate schemes is that some of them require you to have finished school not too long ago. So if you had finished school a long time ago, it might be harder to get into some of these graduate schemes. But you can also check for junior roles, trainee roles, assistant roles, that you know that okay, you just need to get your leg in. Once you get your foot in, you can now learn on the job and keep going up, up, up till you actually get get to where get to the role you're looking for. So like for instance, some people might be looking to transition into software engineer or cybersecurity, but they might not be able to get cybersecurity off the jump. So while they are learning, what they do is that they apply to customer support or tech support roles. They work in that company for a while, and then they keep learning, keep building their experience, and keep moving up and up and up and up till they get to the role that they're actually looking for. So let's go to the next slide. So job descriptions are your roadmap. Like I mentioned before, identify repeated skills. Note skills mentioned multiple times, like Excel or customer service. Like I said before, I was able to have CVs that picked out some of the common things that were particular to that role and had CVs for them. So identify repeated skills. What are those skills that are specific to the industry? What are those skills that employers are always looking for, and try and build up those skills, then add them to your CV. Um, Plan your learning, identify skill gaps that you need to fill. I mentioned this before. Update your CV, revise your document to spotlight the relevant experience and relevant skills. Guide your cover letter, address specific requirements from the job description. So some jobs might not require a cover letter, and some jobs might require, and some jobs, even if they don't require, you can apply and then maybe message the manager or send an email to somebody in the company. But try to just guide your CV and your cover letter to the job description. There's one tip I heard from someone. I've forgotten where I heard it from, but he said that one thing you need to do is that just try to read the job description, even if it means you reading it more than once. Digest the job description, read it over and over again, so that you know that this is what um this is what they are looking for. So once you have an idea of what they're looking for, you have an idea of how to present yourself to match that job description. So let's go to the next. So start where you are. So these are just a few learning platforms. I'm sure that everybody knows YouTube. YouTube has a lot of free videos. My only issue is that sometimes YouTube does not have structured learning, and they might not have best practices. So there are just a lot of content on YouTube. A lot of people are teaching and everything like that. So the good thing with YouTube is that YouTube is free. You can access a lot of information on YouTube. But going back to this, job description and your roadmaps, once you have identified repeated skills and things that you're looking at, you can then come onto YouTube and I'll be like, okay, you search for this particular skill that you want to learn. So instead of searching for that role itself and getting a lot of videos and getting overwhelmed, although it's good to search for it and see what the role looks like, what the day-to-day activities look like, you can also identify those skill gaps, look at the job description, identify those skills that are required for that role, and begin to search the skills one by one on YouTube, or make a roadmap for yourself. And then once you're checking, at least your learning will be a bit structured. So there's also Coursera. Coursera is paid, but you can actually get discounts. You can get some vouchers for free. You can get a scholarship for Coursera. There's LinkedIn Learning, it's subscription, but I don't think it's that expensive. If you come for masters, like for my own school, for my masters, we had free LinkedIn Learning. We had the offer to us free LinkedIn Learning, Skillshare subscription for creative skills. So bonus, I think I wrote this down. I mentioned this before: explore free internships, build projects, try to carry out similar responsibilities to the role you are looking for. So yes, tools like ChatGPT can help. AI tools can transform your job application materials with these practical uses. So like I said, I also used AI a lot when I was doing my applications to actually make me faster. Those are one of the things that made me faster. But one thing I always say is that always do your due diligence. I'm coming. Just give me a few seconds. Uh, Sorry for the break in transmission. So tools like ChatGPT can help. There are different AI tools, there are different large language models, and then these are some of the things you could use ChatGPT or what we call large language models for. Now, one thing I always mention is that as much as these tools are actually great, it's also good to do your due diligence. Now you can use ChatGPT to read your job description. You can paste it that okay, based on this job description, what are the things that I require? Okay, you paste the job description, you paste your CV based on the job description and based on my CV. What are the skills I already have? What are the skill gaps? What are the things I need to learn? What are the possible interview questions that will come out from this job? That is good and that works. But sometimes you always try to do your due diligence and read the job description yourself. Try to read it, try to digest it, and then still paste it in ChatGPT because these AI tools they help you a lot, a whole lot. But sometimes the answers might not be perfect depending on how you prompt it. And as the answers are not perfect, the only way for you to know is because you have done your due diligence, you have done your own research beforehand, and it gives you a lot of correct answers. But those few words, those few lines that it doesn't get right, can actually can actually you can actually spot them quickly. Like let's say you're telling ChatGPT to help you to revamp your CV. Although you might not necessarily have to tell it to revamp your CV, but you can just say, okay, this is the job description. Can you change so and so part of my CV to include, or can you change these bullet points that covers the can you change this bullet point that actually and make it more measurable, or like just those little things. So one thing with AI tools that they are very good, but they are just tools in your hands. You are still the author, you're still the pilot. You're supposed to guide those AI tools. So this is how you can use AI tools. They can also make you faster in making quality applications. So for CV and enhancement, generate target bullet points that translate your experience into industry specific language. Like now you're coming from a different industry. I want to work in this industry. You can be like, okay, in a new industry, you can be like, okay, these are the skills I have. And first of all, is also what's mentioning that you should try to write your CV yourself and then just try to use ChatGPT to refine it, or carry your old CV, use ChatGPT to generate a new one and compare it to the one you have written so that you can update it with what is meant to look like while not losing the meaning to the points that or losing the context to the point that you're actually trying to pass across. So CV enhancement, generate targeted bullet points that translate your experience into industry specific language. Um, Job description analysis, extract key requirements and skills to ensure your application addresses exactly what employers want. So like the example I give, it's like saying that okay, um, this is the job description, this is my CV. What are these people looking for? What are the possible questions? What are the skill gaps? What are the skills I already have? So these are just some of the things. Cover letter creation. Draft personalized letters that highlight relevant experience and explain your career transition. So like the same process, paste the job description, paste your CV, please can you generate a cover letter. But again, I'll say you do your due diligence and read through it yourself and change and correct some of the things that you need to correct. You always change, go through them, correct them and everything, correct them yourself so that it doesn't give you some of the wrong answers and you're still able to maintain the context of the things that you want. So you can also try this prompt. Rewrite this experience for a remote admin role, managed patient records, and scheduled appointments to highlight transferable skills. So let's just quickly try this. So um let me see if I can get to my chat GPT. We're just going to do a quick example. Just can everyone still hear me? If you can hear me, just quickly unmute your mic and just say yes, and then yeah.
Yes, we are hearing
Okay. So So I will just do a quick example. So you just see how it works real time. So you write this experience for a remote admin role. Manage patient records and schedule appointments. So, okay. And scheduled appointments. Appointments to highlight transferable skills. To highlight transferable skills. So these particular bullet points: manage patient records and scheduled appointments. If, as you can see, it comes from like a healthcare, from the healthcare industry. So we're just telling ChatGPT that, okay, can you rewrite this experience to match a remote admin role? So this is what a healthcare professional will do. And then we're telling that, okay, rewrite this to match a remote admin role to highlight the transferable skills. So let's see what it's going to give us. So he says, sure, here's the revised version. So maintained accurate digital records and coordinated appointment scheduling, demonstrating strong attention to detail. Very important. Organizational efficiency and effective communication in a fast-paced environment. So these are it gives certain things to, because these are the things that are going to be needed in a remote admin role: strong attention to detail, organization efficiency, and effective communication in a fast-paced environment. And if you look at it, these are things that you actually did while managing patient records and scheduling appointments. But putting it this way now takes closely to the remote admin role. So this is just an example of how it could look like. So I could give more examples, but I'm just trying to give keep some of the examples short so that the session doesn't go to we don't go past our time, because I know that everybody has things to do and it's already night time. So this is just an example of the kind of prompt you can give ChatGPT to help you with. And this was an example of what we've been talking about from the beginning of the session up until now. So don't sabotage your applications. Generic applications, one size fits all CVs really succeed. So don't just pick one CV and apply to different job roles. Like what I did, I made sure each of the base CVs I had were tailored to a specific role. And even at that, when applying to different jobs, I tried to edit the CVs to match that particular job description. If you are using a one size fits all CV, it's going to do you more harm than good, because the recruiter is looking at your CV and looking at, okay, this is what we need for the job. This is the CV. It doesn't match. This is obviously not the person that we're looking for. So that actually does more harm than good to your CV. Poor proofreading, errors suggesting lack of attention to detail. It ties to what I've said before. First of all, reading your job description, reading your CV to make sure that, okay, things like grammatical errors, formatting, simple things like this are what that, okay, maybe your CV has passed the applicant tracking system, and then a recruiter is looking at your CV. Just those little things can be off-putting, because the recruiter might think that, okay, this person does not really have attention to detail. And then even when using ChatGPT to generate certain ideas and certain things, if you don't proofread it, you could get certain words, or you could get certain things that ChatGPT do not write well, or maybe it says something in a different way that makes it lose value, or makes you lose the thing you're actually trying to pass across. So if you don't proofread, if you don't keep that your attention to detail, it will sabotage your application. So ignoring job descriptions, missing critical requirements, waste opportunities. Like I said, reading the job description over and over again, undervaluing soft skills, empathy and teamwork matter in every role. So your soft skills are very important because those are some of the things that you can easily transfer from role to role. Something I forgot to mention is something I just did, for example. So you can go to Indeed, you can go to LinkedIn, you can go to Google Jobs or other job websites. Maybe there's a particular job website for the industry you're looking to apply to. What I did was that I first of all getting my CV ready in Word format. Some some job websites will not allow you uploading Word formats. They want you to upload PDF, but I prefer Word format when I can because I heard that it's easier for applicant tracking system to actually read your Word format. I don't know how true that is, but I just did that to improve my chances. So my CV was always in Word format, and then for websites that required PDFs only, I transferred it to PDF. So I had my CV ready. But before then, what I did was that I went to the job, searched for the role I wanted, search for, put all the filters, all the keywords. It brought out the number of jobs. And that thing I did is that I put one important filter. That filter was that I wanted to see only jobs that have been posted between less than an hour to 3 days. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to be among the first applicants to apply to certain jobs. Sometimes, if you're applying to a job after 100 people have applied to, sometimes your application gets through. But um, sometimes the recruiter has already had a lot of CVs to look through. So before they even get to your CV, they might have even found the person or the people that they want to shortlist for interview. So looking for jobs that have been posted less than an hour to maybe 3 days to less than an hour, that jobs are important from less than an hour to maybe 3 days. It puts you among the first people that apply to those jobs. Because sometimes they're actually good enough, but maybe you didn't apply early enough. And once you're among those first people to apply, it actually increases your chances. And then whenever did that, I set alert. So whenever new jobs come, it notifies me in my email that okay, these some new jobs have been posted based on your filters, based on your search, based on your keywords. They have just been posted now, or they have just been posted. They were posted like an hour ago. So I quickly go and try to update my CV based on the job role. Look at them based on job role, update my CV and apply to them, so that I'm among those first people that get through. So that as you're looking through the CVs, mine is among the first. Even if it's an applicant tracking system, mine is among the first ones that they look through, and then it also increases my chances. So I just felt that I should mention that. I didn't say that I forgot to say that previously. So what's the next? Key takeaways. Know your transferable skills. I mentioned this a few times. Identify what you already bring to a new field. Those skills that you have been using in your old job, how can they be transferred to your new job? So know what those transferable skills are. You can write them down. Study job descriptions. Learn what tools and skills you need. I've already said that. I mentioned that. Tailor your applications. Customize for each opportunity. Stay consistent. Keep learning. Very important. Keep learning. Keep filling up the skill gap and keep applying. So, as you all know, if you are here, you have already joined the SkillnGrow community. We're here to help you. Yes, one thing I did not mention, join a community. The job I got was from a community. There was a tech community, and someone just said that, oh, who has these skills? Who has these skills? My company is recruiting. This is what is needed. And I'm like, oh, I want to apply. I DM'd him, sent my CV over, and he said he's going to send it to the hiring manager. And then I went on LinkedIn. I also saw the same job and I applied for it. So I tried all my chances, but I feel like it's the one I sent to him that even increased my chances, because he would have given it directly to the hiring manager to actually look at my CV. And then from then, the hiring manager messaged me on LinkedIn, sent me some tasks to do. I did the tasks, I submitted, I did the interviews, and then I got the job. So a community is very important. Most of the times you might have questions, and there are different types of people in the community. There are people who are just starting, there are people who have been few years into the industry and people who have been there for a long time. So you can just come and throw your questions out, and then people who know about these things will actually come and answer you. Now that doesn't beat research, because it's good to always do your due diligence and do your research. But even at that, there are certain questions that you can just ask, and then in just a few minutes, a few seconds, in a few hours, you get your response part, you get your response back, and you're able to just get some feedback. Or you can be like, okay, I'm applying to this job. Who has applied to this job before? What are the possible questions? If you have been to our NHS interview sessions, you know that okay, some of these questions are from experience. Some of these questions that come up are from people, or like when Kel is talking about some of these questions, is from her experience. Or when people are sending you questions, like, or if you have been in the community, you see that okay, some people will say, I I went for this interview, these are the questions that they ask. So that is one thing of the community, everyone helping each other. People that have had experience, they always tell you that okay, this is how it's done, or this is how I did mine that works for me. So we have the online community, and we're always here to support you. We have monthly sessions, we have focus sessions. Our focus sessions are just like if you have any tasks to do and maybe you have not really had time the whole day, these sessions are just to keep you accountable. So you see us posting it at least every week, and then you can just join the link. If you have some work to do, you bring the work to the session. Try as much as possible to put on your camera. If you can't put it on your camera, that's fine. But putting on your camera just keeps you accountable. It's like, okay, you're sitting down in silence, there's maybe a little bit of music in the background, and you're just doing your work. Is that you're dedicated your time to this session. Everybody's doing their own work, but at least you can see that at the end of this session, I was able to achieve this tax, this tax, and this tax. Especially maybe you can use those sessions for job applications, to revamp your CV, or do some of the things we have spoken about in this session. So we have focus sessions, we have career sessions, like interview prep sessions. This session we're just having now, we're going to also have more sessions. And also session, let's say you're looking to transition to nursing, any roles in tech, any roles in finance, any roles in construction. We're going to look for industry experts that are already working in those roles to actually come and tell you, okay, what are the courses you're supposed to learn? What are those specific courses? What are those exams you're supposed to write? What are those particular things you're supposed to look out for when transitioning to this role? So we'll bring people so that you get bespoke support for that particular thing that you're looking for. This was just a general session, just to give you a general overview and an overall idea on where to actually start from. But we're going to have sessions where it's going to be tailored to the particular career, particular roles that you're looking for. Supportive environments. We're all here to help each other grow. So if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat, or you can unmute your mic and ask. I think I'll unshare my screen now just so that I can answer questions. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes.
What about an issue of
What about what?
curriculum? An issue of curriculum vitae. Should it be one page, or should have 3 or 4 pages?
Wait, can you rephrase your question again, please?
I'm talking about an issue of curriculum vitae. I understand someone told me that it must be one page.
Okay. So it depends on the role and depends on your experience. So why this, try to capture as much things in your CV in one page. But if that's not possible, I feel like that's fine, because sometimes you might have a lot of years of you might have more years of experience, and you might need to write all those things down. But why people advise that you put it in one page is that if a recruiter is looking at your CV and there are too many pages, it might put them off, because they're trying to be in their shoes. They're looking at several applications. So if they have to look at 3 pages each of different applications, they might just get tired and not even want to see everything in your CV. And then sometimes some of the very important details are actually below. And that's why they also advise that when you're writing your experience, your most recent experience, is usually the top part, because that will be one of the most important parts. So try as much as you can to put it on one page. If it's more than one page, is fine. I think mine was 2 pages, because sometimes I couldn't find how to fit 3 to 4 years of work on only one page. But then I also took out some of those experiences that I'd used to get other jobs, but I felt like they didn't make so much difference in my CV right now. The ones that made the most difference were the ones I put on top, and I put on a few pages. So 1 or 2 pages, maybe 3 pages, maybe you have worked for some time. And like I said, you have to pick the relevant skills to the particular job role. So if you're picking the relevant skills, you might not have so much to write, but the case that you have so much to write, that sometimes that is unavoidable. But just try and keep your CV as concise as possible. Put the actionable results. So the purpose is to make it not to be too long, but don't take away from the meaning of the things you have done. That's why people always it's always advised that I put actionable results, because that way, if you're putting actionable results, you're able to keep it a bit concise, and at the same time, you're able to capture the value. You're able to capture the that thing that you did, and the recruiter is able to say that, okay, this is what this person did. You're able to communicate the impact of your work. Yes. So do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
you have answered.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, Augusta.
Okay, my question is, what if you have different CV and you
Okay.
need to optimize your LinkedIn profile? How can you make your LinkedIn profile suit those, let's say, 4 different CVs? Like
Hmm.
you are a business analyst, you are a data analyst, you also maybe you did a little sort of project management, and you want the LinkedIn profile to fit these 3 different um skills or profession of yours. How can you do it?
Okay, so this is actually very tricky, very, very tricky. So off the top of my head, what I'll say is that your LinkedIn profile can be much more detailed than your CV. And it's actually okay to put all those things that you have done, all those skills on your LinkedIn profile. And the skills you mentioned, they're actually even a bit related. It's okay to put all those skills in your LinkedIn profile. But another thing is that when you're writing your CV, since you're trying to tailor your CV to that particular job, you might not necessarily need to include your LinkedIn profile in that particular CV. You can include the places you've worked, you can include projects, you can include the portfolio, you can include every other thing. But if you feel like you have done a lot of things there and you need to include everything in your LinkedIn, it's going to be very stressful trying to change your LinkedIn to suit different roles. So you can just have everything on your LinkedIn. It's only if you are specifically asked for your LinkedIn in that case. So normally it's good to include your LinkedIn profile, but in this your case, it's only if you are specifically asked that, okay, do you have a LinkedIn profile? We want to see it. Then that makes sense. So the highest you can do is that maybe your most recent experience, but that will even be a bit tricky. But your most recent experience, you can either put it to the job role you're looking for the most, the job role you most applied, or put the transferable skills that could actually work for those 3 roles or those 4 different roles that I just mentioned. But like I said, if in this your case, if they don't ask for your LinkedIn profile, try to put everything else that puts you forward. Then when they specifically ask for your LinkedIn profile, then you can present it to them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay, yes, I understand.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Sonia. Sonia, can you?
Hi,
Okay.
good evening. Thank
Good
you very
evening.
much. And I really appreciate this session.
Mm.
Though I didn't start from the beginning, there's something that has been bothering me regarding a track job.
Okay.
Every time I put up an application here,
Yeah.
I always use the column for use a recent job application.
Yes.
So, but over time, I get to receive messages where you see notifications like update your online CV and all of that. So I'm curious. Does it
Okay.
mean that whenever I put up those applications, the online CV is submitted?
So they whenever you put on those applications, the online CV is not submitted. So in your track applications, when you open track for the first time, you have an online, they give you a chance to create an online CV. What that does is to make it easier for you to apply to track jobs. Now, if your online CV is not completed, um, they tell you, okay, do you want to apply from a previous application? So rest assured is that whenever you submit a track application, is those details that you put in that application that's being submitted for that job. That's why if you are going through the jobs, you can see mark as complete.
Yeah.
So yes, it enables you go through each of the details, mark as complete. And sometimes it's good to fill your online CV because at least it makes it easier for you to apply for jobs. Just that you just have to change your supporting statement and some other details. But then even if it gives that details, yes, maybe you can update your online CV just to make it easier for you, but it doesn't affect your applications in any way. It just makes you faster. But whatever you're submitting in that job application, that's what is going. It's not the online CV that is going, is that particular. So for track, is that particular job application that is going. Is that so? For from my experience on applying to jobs on track, you're not really submitting a CV per se. You're just trying to answer all the questions that they give you. That's why even your job experience, you're not submitting a document. You're writing everything down plus your responsibility. So that online CV is doesn't really affect your applications unless you want to fill it to make it easier for you to apply. But whatever you submit in that application is just that one that is going.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Then another question I have.
yes, yeah.
Like me, I've been in the UK just a year plus, and
Okay,
I'm on my graduate visa and I'm searching for jobs with sponsorship.
okay,
But I've been getting a lot of unfortunate job application.
okay.
And from what you've been saying, I understand the aspect of putting in the job and tailoring your skills and all of that to fit into the job.
Okay.
But again, you tend to get lots of unfortunate job applications. So lately, I just sat down and I was wondering, fine, I'm new to a particular sector and I want to transition into that sector. And in terms of job, you have to have this banding from this band to this band,
Yes, yes,
especially NHS. So I'm thinking like, what if I'm actually looking for something like this? You said something like you can go on tier two sponsorship check to check if this job is actually giving sponsorship. Yeah.
yeah.
If this a company is giving
Company, yeah.
sponsorship. So is it advisable that okay, fine, you already see that this company is giving sponsorship? Is it advisable to start for a lower band if you have time? If you have time, maybe you start from a lower band, maybe because I know within the NHS, if you already get their trainings and all of that, it gives you an edge whereby when you are making application for other banding, you are likely going to be selected. So I'm just within that pace right now. Like, since I'll be getting lots of unfortunately in band three, should I just go down to band two and try to check if it will bring me into it before of scaling myself and start applying for band three, because I know I have up to 1 year for my visa. So I don't know if that's a good way to go.
Okay, so what I'll say, this is actually a very good question. What I'll say that if you have time and you're sure that you have time, you can start from a lower band, and but when you start from the lower band, you should give yourself a few months that okay, as I'm starting from the lower band, I'm still going to be applying to higher bands, but at the same time, I'm learning like the skills. I've already put my foot into the NHS. I've already like gotten in, so you can start from the lower band, but then give yourself a few months that okay, no matter where I am now, I need to get to a band three or a band four, or I need to move higher so that I can be sponsored within this amount of months. So you can either move to a lower band with that in mind, or you can move to a lower band and ask the company, okay, maybe during the interview after everything, and ask, you say that okay, I'm on a graduate visa, I can work. You don't need to sponsor, but is there a chance that I might get sponsorship? Is there a chance that you can? I don't know how you phrase the question, but you cannot be like, okay, working here, you might not say, is there a chance I can get sponsorship? You can be like, okay, working here, how fast can someone be promoted? How fast can someone move to a different band? And first of all, you even need to know if that company even sponsors different bands. If they sponsor the band 3, what are the salary requirements and everything like that. So if you have time, you can go for it. But you need to give yourself you need to give yourself time that, okay, I need to work within this time, so that you don't get too comfortable and then your time is running out. And at the same time, you ask questions. You need to be sure that if you move out the higher band in this trust, they will sponsor, or you can move on to the higher band in a different trust. At least you're already within the NHS. I have learned more skills that are specific to the NHS, so you will have a higher chance. I think Pretty's hand is up. Maybe she wants to answer the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everybody. This is Kel. Yeah. So just to add to what Josh said for Sonia, while I understand how hard it is to, I mean, it would have been that hard for you to even get to that point where you're making a decision to come down to a lower band. So you might be thinking you have a lot of time, but I want to just make you understand that why you think you have a lot of time on your post-study visa, the time runs really, really fast. So while you're still sticking to what Josh just said about maybe trying the lower role, but giving yourself time, do not also forget that sometimes we get so comfortable where we are and we think we still have time. So while you're also considering that, which is very, very important, also it could be that the way you're applying, I used to be in that shoes, like it could be that you're not applying well. It could be that there's a problem with your supporting statement. Because aside from what we do here, I also heard somebody on TikTok today talking about supporting statements. Like your supporting statement would just make you stand out from every other candidate, aside the whole being on time, applying on time, and all of that. So my advice would just be that when you're considering what Josh just said, also there's a step-by-step guideline that's already in the community. I don't know if you've seen that, Sonia. I feel like people do not really take time to study that step-by-step guide, because it's a very detailed one that would guide you on how to apply to jobs and land an interview. So what I want you to do this week for me is take time. It could be 3 days. Give yourself 2 hours to eat every day to say, okay, I want to go through this step-by-step guide, understand it, and understand how to prompt ChatGPT to give me a very good supporting statement. So after this call, I don't know if have you seen the guides, Sonia?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so take time, because some people, when they go through it, they still come back to ask questions. And if you ask me, I will tell you that thing is very, very straight to the point. So give yourself this week or 2 weeks max to say, okay, I'm using this step guideline to apply to my jobs. And please get back to us after 2 weeks, whether you've been successful, whether you've successfully landed an interview or not. So that's what I just want to put. I think Chin also has something to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Chinasa, yeah, please go on.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if my video is on or something, but yeah,
It's not on yet. Okay, good.
Yeah, it should be on now. Yeah, so what I wanted to just add to what Praise was saying is with respect to the AI thing, and also what Josh said, I felt I wanted to just add it so that it could also help us. So for me, what I normally do, right, is one, it's very important for you to understand your job description, because that would help you so much at the interview. So if I get the job description, right, I put it in ChatGPT. And also if you can get what's the name, the premium subscription for ChatGPT, that would also help, because you can, put attachments. So if I put the job description there, I put my CV there, then I ask it to rate it honestly. Like I use what honestly rate this CV, because if you tell it to rate the CV and tell it to honestly rate the CV, they are two different prompts, right? If it rates it honestly, it's more objective, right? So once it rates it, you can now tell it to like make improvement. It gives you suggestions, and based on what you know in the job description, you can now modify it and keep asking ChatGPT to rate the CV until you get like 9.5. You get to a point that ChatGPT will be like, this CV is like, it's top notch. You get, that's one. Then with respect to the cover letter, first is you need to for instance, if it's maybe in the NHS, maybe Devon or something, you need to give ChatGPT some information about that particular NHS, maybe links, documents, or something. Then based on that, you can tell ChatGPT to like craft a captivating hook for a cover letter. It brings up a hook, you can read it. If it's okay, if it's not okay, but you can tell it to refine it until you get something that you want. Then with the help of ChatGPT, you can also, get that full cover letter and just make a little bit of editing. And that is also something that me have done that have worked, right? That can also, help you be able to get more interviews, basically. And that's how AI can help. Then okay, I think that's just what I want to say with respect to the AI thing and the ChatGPT thing.
Thank you, Kel, and thank you, Chino. So another thing I'll add to what we've just said is feedback. Feedback is very important. So you can there's some times that you get an unfortunately and you're not able to ask for feedback because maybe leaving an automatic mail. But the times you can ask for feedback, please ask for feedback. Why? What happened? What was wrong with my application? And the times you can't ask for feedback, let's say like for track now, you can download your application. Is there anyone in the community that says, oh, I just got a job? Or is there anybody that you know and that's like, oh, I just got a job in band 3, I just got a job in band 2, I just got a job for this. And then you can be like, oh, sorry, can I reach out to you? Can I like talk to you? Please, this is my application, or this is my most recent application. I've been getting, unfortunately. What did you do to increase your chances to get applications? Or if you have time, maybe just like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 30 minutes, let's just look through my application. For somebody that has gotten a job interview, or probably even gotten the job itself, they might be able to look at your application and get like a different view, or just pick out some of the mistakes you might have made. That's if you're even making mistakes. Pick out some of the things that you might need to change in your application. They'll be able to spot it quickly, and you can, okay, this is the feedback. So apart from all the things I've said, they are all very important. You also need to like get feedback when you can, get like a different pairs of eyes, like different, just to look at your application to be sure that it's actually like tailored and how it's supposed to be and everything like that. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? Oh, sorry, Sonia, hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much. I understand.
So do we have any other questions? Cedric, sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name well. After Cedric, Ifoma will go. Can you ask a question, please? Wait, let me type your name in the chat. So maybe you say it Cedric, or sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name well. Your hands are raised. I don't think you can hear me.
I think Ifoma should just go next.
Yeah, Ifoma, can you go next, please?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to ask when applying for an application, when doing an application on the track site, like you guys have always been saying, our tutors have always been saying that we should try to use the job description and incorporate the job description in our supporting statements. So I want to ask, when incorporating the JD in our supporting statement, should we use word for word?
So
I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
yeah, I get what you're trying to say.
Okay.
So I don't think it's necessarily word for word, but there are things that
Okay.
they call keywords. So when they are doing when there's a job description, there are things that they are looking for. So like Chino also said, and like I also said earlier,
Okay.
asking ChatGPT, what are the keywords? What are these skills? What are those things that they are looking for? Because one thing the job description tells you is the type of person that they are looking for, the type of things they are looking
Yeah.
for. Let's say you're applying to a support job. Um, what are those things? If or let's say you're applying to a clinical role, what are those basic day-to-day activities? Because from the job description, they'll tell you, okay, you'll be a perfect candidate if you can do this. You'll be a perfect candidate if you can do this. These are our values. So what you do is just to highlight those things that they're looking for in their day-to-day activities in your supporting statement that okay, I've done this before or I've done something similar. Their values, okay, your values is proper communication. In my previous role, I always report to this person. I always tell the team leader this. I always keep track of accurate records. So they, I won't say word for word per se, but get those keywords, those particular things that they are looking for, and integrate them in your supporting statements. So do you get what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
I got
and
it.
you can also like paste on ChatGPT. Or okay, this is the job description. This is my CV. These are like other details about me. Draft the supporting statement. So you might not necessarily copy and paste exactly what ChatGPT gives you, but at least it gives you an idea on how the supporting statement is supposed to look like based on the job description and based on your CV and previous supporting statements and previous experience. So I won't say it is word for word, although yes, some people will be like, oh, it's supposed to be, but I feel like it's more about picking out those keywords and picking out those key skills and those values that they are looking for.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, do you have any other questions or
And none for now. Maybe before the section ends, if I remember anything, then I might still ship it in. But for now,
oh,
no.
oh okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're ending the session very soon. Does anyone have any question? I think we'll take like two more questions if anyone has. If no one has questions, we can end the session. Does anyone have any question? Let me check the chat see if there's anything. Okay, thank you, Binga. I think wait. I think your hands are still raised. If do you have any other question? I think also so
Oh no. Okay.
okay, let me check let me open the queue.
Okay.
And so Sonia, do you still have any other question? I can see Yusuf, so we'll just take Sonia and Yusuf.
Okay, thank you. My other question is, when you are making application for most jobs, they tell you that what's it called? AI generated what's it called?
AI generated
Messages. They
content.
they
Yeah.
highly probed AI. So I
Yes.
know of AI humanizer. Are there other what's it called, paraphrasing tool that you can at least recommend that actually just does the job?
So I'll give you the tools. There are most of these writing tools like Grammarly and Quill, but once you use their paraphraser, there should be a humanizer option. But I also say what I said before. It also helps to look through it yourself, remove some words, write it in your own words to actually make it sound human. You can actually tell ChatGPT itself and be like, can you humanize this for me? Can you make
Okay.
it sound more human? But it also still helps that after all of that, after putting the text or the content into Quillbot, Grammarly, or all these humanizing tools, you read yourself and be like, okay, you change this, you change this, you change this, you change this, so that there's that actual human touch. There's that actual human touch. And I'm not going to lie, some of these AI detectors are not even very perfect, but at the same time, let's not bank on that. Let's just try and do our own due diligence. So now the ChatGPT content or the cloud or the LLM, the large language model, has done a lot by generating content. So you just need to do that remaining 20% of work that is left to actually um to actually just get it refined in a way that you want. So it has done like 80%. So just that 20% that is left that you can actually just read through and just try to refine it to what it's supposed to look like.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So our last question is from Yusuf, Mr. Yusuf.
Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me? Good evening.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
I'm sorry, I didn't join on time. I was coming from work.
Oh,
I
that's fine.
I missed most of the major content, major transition discussions. But I just made question and answer on the um, applications review, all the stuff. So I don't know if it's possible. Maybe you want to suggest it's possible to have a this event every stuff we have, maybe we have it recorded, so we can always go back to it.
Oh, yes,
You
this
know,
this
I don't.
session is actually being recorded.
So maybe we can help us send it to the group, so we can always go back to it
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
just send something. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
No, okay, okay. So this is actually being recorded. So when we're done with it, it will save. Then I'll just we'll just put it together and just send the link to the group. So we'll always send we'll try to record as much of our sessions as possible, and then when we're done with it, then we'll try to send the content across so that you can always come back to watch all the parts you missed or watch the parts that you want to watch again. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. You're welcome. So, Cedric, I think you're raising your hand before, but I didn't hear from you. Just ask. I think that's the last question we'll take for today.
Yeah, actually, it's not question.
Okay.
I'm not on any group. In case I have a question, I'd like to ask you one other day later. How can we be in contact? I'm not on the group.
Okay. Are you in the SkillnGrow community?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I think we need to get the link and send it across. Or Chinoso and Kel, do you have the link accessible to you that you can just paste in the chat quickly so that they can just click on the links to the community? Oh, thank you, Chinoso. So Chinoso has just dropped the link to the community, so you can just click on it and you join the group so that you can
Okay.
always ask your questions there. Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I think,
Yes,
yeah.
thank you very much.
Welcome.
So we've come to the end of the session. Thank you for everyone that joined. Thank you for everyone that asked questions. Hope we all had a good time. I don't know if that's what to call it, but hope we all at least got something from the session and learned something. Like I said earlier, this session is recorded, so we're going to share the recordings to you in case you want to watch again, and also for people who could not join early enough. And we're going to keep in touch in the community. If you have any questions, just ask them. We'll try and have sessions that actually tailor to your specific needs. We have focus sessions every week. We'll communicate that to you, and we'll always communicate our sessions and any other information we have, we'll communicate them to you. So thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely night.
Thanks, you too.